All right. So this is going to be a tough one for me to kind of dice up, so bear with me. So a question I get all the time is, what training plan do I use to train for 50 miles, 50 Ks and above? And I've always had a tough time answering that. Full transparency, the reason is I don't use a training plan. Never have. Even in the early days when I was just an ultra hopeful, I was a marathoner that transferred in and just kind of added in some long runs, some back-to-back long runs, and just kind of did what felt natural. I've never been one to follow any kind of structure when it comes to running. Now, I did when I was in track, and I was a sprinter, so there wasn't a whole lot of distance running associated with it. The furthest I ran was a 200 meter, and most of the rest were high jump, triple jump, long jump, 100 meter, 440 relay, things like that. So when it comes to distance running, I really had no knowledge of the science behind it, especially getting into understanding tempo runs and steady state runs and long runs and kind of the physiological changes and the adaptation that comes from those type of things and resting, and just didn't know anything about any of that. I just ran because it was fun. And ultimately, that's what got me into ultras. Reading books like Born to Run and reading Dean Karnazes' books, Ultramarathon Man, it just kind of inspired me to want to run long distance, to achieve things that most people would or could not. Now, I've come to find out that I think a lot of people can achieve these things. It's just what your definition is of achieving. There's a lot of people that only want to run ultras and at the elite level, and if they can't compete at that level, they don't do it anymore. And that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They had a different goal in mind. Mine was always surviving an ultra. I didn't really have a plan. I started this channel in 2014 with the hopes of becoming an ultra runner, a trail runner, and I brought you all along. First video I had almost 7 years ago was a come run with me type video that I used to do, where I brought you onto the trails and just ran. And that's what I did. There was really no reason behind the things that I was doing. It was just, I'm going to go run 7 today. I'm going to run 10 today. I'm going to run 6 today. Knowing kind of that I needed to have a long run associated, a certain distance. I needed to be able to probably get to a certain distance, volume somewhat, but not understanding kind of how to mix in any kind of, up-tempo type running, or the reasons behind doing the things that you do that never existed when I first started running. And I kind of learned things, and I kind of got into this intuitive running. And what spawned this thought process, because I never really think about it too much, as I was watching an interview between, what was his name? Mr. Roll, interviewing Rich Roll. I want to say Rick Roll, but it's not Rick Roll. Rick Roll podcast. He was interviewing one of my favorite people, my spirit animal, Courtney Dauwalter. She's just a phenomenal runner. I love her demeanor. I just love how humble she is, and just her approach to running. And I heard this interview, and she talked about kind of this intuitive type running, that she kind of knows what she needs to do, but she never really thinks of it until the day of what she's going to do. And sometimes it's out on the run, and I'm like, that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. Literally almost day to day, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I mean, I know I'm going to do long runs on the weekends. I don't know the distance. It's just kind of whatever comes up. I have an idea, maybe. Sometimes that changes when I go out there. If I'm supposed to do 10, 12 miles and I'm feeling good, I might do 15. Or if I'm not feeling great, I'll do 8 or 9 and just slow down a little bit more and draw the time out, knowing that it's more about time on your feet. Little middle distance runs, kind of 8, 6 milers during the week, recovery days. And I just kind of piecemealed it together. And that's how I've run over 20 ultra marathons with really no structure. Now, if you look at the history, I've had one DNF, and I don't think it was because of anything and just having a bad day. I got injured, but I completed that race before. That was my first ultra marathon, and it was super difficult. And kind of my mentality around all of this was, I want this to be fun. If I have so much structure to the point where I'm stressing, and again, if you've watched this channel for any amount of time, being a father of 5, married with a full-time job and a YouTube channel, I'm really stressed for time. I do this because I love to do this. And I love sharing my story. I love helping people. I love inspiring people. And ultimately, completely the most honest truth I can give you is I love doing this. I love sharing all this with you because I know there's so many people out there looking for this type of information, looking for someone that they relate to, that they can get inspired from to realize that they can do it. You know, even if at the end of the day I do this for 10 years or something and I've inspired 10 people to become ultra marathoners and they've gleaned some sort of inspiration or whatever, then it's worth it to me. I love doing this. I really, really honestly love doing this. And if it got to the point where it's not fun, then what are we doing? What am I doing out here? I want things to be fun. Not that structure is not fun. My approach in getting through it, and I'm getting to a point. So this intuitive running has just kind of been a thing. I wake up, I kind of feel like, hey, I'm going to do 6 today, and if I'm out, I'm feeling good. Like, you know what? I'll pick it up today. And one lucky thing that I have where I am, I don't have flat ground. I can't run a half a mile without running up a hill or down a hill. I mean, I can run 10 miles here and have 1,000 feet of elevation gain. I'm fortunate in that, so that kind of takes care of a lot of the work. I know some days I was like, I feel good. I'm going to run up the hills. I'll run, and some days I'll run the whole run, and some days I hike up the hills because I know that I can't push through all of it. And that's what I've kind of done. And I feel lucky that I kind of live where I do, and I'm lucky with the kind of terrain I have, and that's what I've kind of done. I just take this no stress approach to it because running is my happy place. It's where I go. I can be in the moment. It's the only time in my life I can just really be in the moment. And applying structure to that, in my mind, seemed more stressful. So if I couldn't go out and do that workout at that time, that to me would upset me. I'd be more worried about missing the workout. And that's what kind of drove me to doing what I do with this kind of intuitive type, haphazardly approach to training. But I learned that it could work. And so having done as many ultras as I've done, I've come to realize there's some things that I'd like to change. That's what kind of led me to getting my coaching certification and learning more. I mean, I read a ton about running. It's funny, for someone who runs the way that I do and my approach to things, I want to be as knowledgeable as I can. I'm like the guy who's built a house and sold a house. I went and it took the realtor course just so I could be more knowledgeable. Didn't even take the certificate. I just did it just so I would be smarter. That's the type of person I am. I try to go 110% into something. Fast forward to 2021, where I am now. There's some things that I want to do. Well, I've told you with speeding up. And the only way I can do that is really concentrating on putting a lot more harder efforts in. To run fast, you have to run fast. Now, I believe in the marathon thing. I can survive. I can go out there and run forever at a slow pace. That's not the challenge anymore. I mean, to me, this is how I equate it. Like, there's people that could jump straight through a bonfire to get to the other side. A lot of risk, potential to get hurt. A lot of things could go wrong, but you know what? You get to the other side quicker. I've kind of gotten to the point where I want to go around. I'm trying to avoid pain. That's what ultras have become to me, where I know that there's pain. There's a pain cave. I like to go into it a little bit, but I always want to be able to turn around and still see the light. I've never driven myself through it. I've been to it 2 times at the same race, the Belmonte race. I've been at that deep in the pain cave where I couldn't see light. 2 times. The first time I ran that race and the second time I ran that race. The only 2 times I've ever been that deep in the pain cave where it was scary. And most of the time I'm trying to avoid that pain cave. I'm trying to kind of skirt. I try to be in good a shape enough to survive the ultra. Because again, if I don't have a goal, can't be disappointed, right? And good or bad, that's what it is. I like to have completions. I like to complete a race. But part of me says it's getting to be the point where I'm not always happy with just kind of skirting around the edge of the fire, staying. I can feel the heat and I'm going around it, but it takes me a long time to get around it. When I get to the other side, I'm like, well, I got here. And the person who kind of jumped through it or got a lot closer to fire to get around there quicker, got there quicker than I did. And I want to start trying to push the envelope a little bit. And I can do that just by upping the intensity of my workouts, upping the speed and the endurance at those upper levels of mileage. And that's what I'm trying to get to. when I've said that anybody can run an ultra marathon, I truly believe that. And I know, the trolls come to the comments are like, not everybody, not everybody. And anybody who has the physical capacity, that means they're healthy enough to do it. If they put the work in, they can do it. It's not, again, like I've said, we're not superhuman. This is not a trick. There's nothing, there is no trick to it. There's no faking it. You have to put in the work, and it does hurt. There's pain. There is downsides to ultras, and you're going to go through some dark places, but you come out on the other side a better person. You come out knowing what you can push yourself through. And ultimately, that's what I enjoy. I enjoy putting myself in harm's way, kind of, and finishing and pushing through. It's kind of like someone jumping out of a plane. They don't really want to do something that's dangerous. They've taken precautions to make it to mitigate all of the dangers associated with jumping out of a plane. I would never do it. Just like climbing. I don't understand why anybody wants to do the free climbing or climbing stuff like that. There's no way in the world. It just seems like the risk is not worth the reward to me. And some people may be like that with the running. They just don't want to go through the pain. But there is a strong reward, and I'm sure there is for those people too. That's why I don't put that stuff down too much. There is two approaches you can take to ultra running. You can take the approach where you want to risk being burned. You want to really push the envelope, and you really want to risk failure by pushing super hard. I'm going to start trying to get to that a little bit more. Now, I'm not going to go out to this toe the line and just sprint and see where I break. But I do want to start trying to train better, become more methodical with my training, more detailed, more purposeful with my training, and see what I can do. Just this year, see what can happen. Maybe next year. We'll see how this year goes. That's what I'm hoping to do. And that's why I've always had a hard time answering what are my ultramarathon training plans? What do I look at? I just kind of understand what my body needs. And there's something to be said to that. You need to listen to your body when you're training. You need to understand when to let off the gas and maybe pump your brakes a little bit, because you can get injured if you try to push too hard. And there's a mentality, and you got the Goggins thing where it's all about the pain and going through it. And, I get it. I love all that stuff too. I do get that, but I have noticed that I've trained a lot, and even in races, I back off. Like this year, the JFK 50, I ran that comfortable. I mean, there was a little discomfort from being on your feet for that long, but I ran it comfortably. And when I kind of started feeling pain, I backed off a little bit and took it easy. I mean, and I finished, but at the end of the day, I just finished, and I don't like walking away knowing that I could have done more, that I took the easier way out, if there is an easy way out in an ultra. Once you do these, and those of you who've run ultras, I think you understand that kind of knife's edge that I'm talking about, where you push enough to be successful, but not push too much where you're upping the risk of failure. And there's something to be said for risking failure, to push yourself to see what you can do. And ultimately, this year is going to be a little bit more about that. Now, I'm not promising that there's going to be this miraculous change, but I think there is something to be said for structured training. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you that. There's scientific proof for doing the things that you do, and so I think you could get better results. And I'm hoping to do that this year. I'm hoping to bring you all along with me on that kind of journey of me kind of adding more structure. The anxiety I have isn't about the structure to my running. The anxiety is about the balance in my life. That's the difficult part for me. That's the part I struggle with, because I have so many goals and things I want to achieve with this channel, and my life. I still have to be a dad and a husband, and those things come first. And so I'm always kind of balancing what's more important, what do I need to work on, and I feel that sometimes I don't always get to put my best out there, whether it be racing or the channel, and that's disappointing. But it is what it is. I'm going to continue to push hard to grow the channel and to give you all good content and interact with you all more, doing more lives and sharing more knowledge and more experience. Some of you obviously are way more experienced than I am, more talented than I am. I'm not an elite. And this channel isn't probably for elites unless they're interested in looking at that, everyday kind of guy who does ultras kind of in this wishy-washy, type of way. But you can be successful, and ultimately my audience, who I'm shooting for out there, who I'm trying to really pull in, is the people who are like me, that don't get to put on all the training that they want to put in, that they struggle with time, they struggle with stress, they struggle with life, but they still want to be an ultramarathoner. They still love running ultramarathons. And those of you out there who have been maybe a road runner, or marathoner, or you just dabbled in it, or you're interested in pushing yourself into ultramarathons, and I'm here, I like being that guy where they like, I can associate with that guy. If he can do it, the way he's doing it, I can do it too. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do. Find that community of folks that get each other, who struggle through the same things, because obviously I enjoy watching the elites too, but I can't relate to them. I can't relate to somebody who can run 110, 120 miles a week and run a 50 miler and sub 6 and a 100 miler and sub 14 hours. Like, those are amazing things to be able to do, but I'm just as amazed by, the mom of 4 or the dad of 5 who struggle with work and stress, and they still get out there and they toe the line and they run and they complete, no matter what the time, an ultramarathon in any form or distance. That is just as impressive to me. It is. This channel is for everyone. I really mean that. There is no snobbery. There is no elitism. There is no kind of, again, the snobbery gets to me because this is an open community. And I'm not making a political statement about this, but I meant literally running is for everyone. There are no outsiders to me. You come in and it can be cliquey. That there are certain people out there that are a lot larger, and they have their little community of friends, and that's completely fine. And we have ours and intermingle. I enjoy watching them. I love their content. But this channel literally is for the people who are just like me. And we're gonna get it done. Even if it hurts, even if we don't have enough time, we're still going to get it done. We're going to cheer each other on, and we're going to celebrate our successes. Sorry that this was such a long discussion, but this was not a very easy answer to explain to people that you don't really follow a formal training plan. Now, I'm getting that way of going on a formal training plan. That's what the whole coaching thing is, so I can start actually explaining the scientific reasons and the purposeful reasons of why you do certain things at certain points in training plans, and how important rest is, how important listening to your body is, regardless of what the plan says, especially as you age. It's super important. We're out here for longevity. We're not out here for a one and done. If you want to do one and done, that's fine. But I seem to think that if you run an ultramarathon, it's kind of hard to be one and done. It's like a tattoo. Once you get one, it's hard to stop, really hard to stop. All right. Thank you all for watching and joining me in this next year. I'm super excited about it. If you want to catch up on what's been going on with me here lately, go ahead and click right there. I will see you in the next video. And if you're not subscribed, please do so. Hit that like button on the way out. Thanks for watching.